There were no signs. It came without warning. Doom came to us all.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucas Hamilton, also known as Ronest with the Other Rejects, and welcome to our in-depth review of For Honor. For Honor released 2 weeks ago, February 14th on Valentine's Day. Over the last 2 weeks, it has had decent reviews and a decent community has come up within it. It obviously boasts a multiplayer, which is what you will mostly say within the gameplay, and a single-player campaign, which we'll get into in a little bit. This review will go under first impressions, what the game has to offer via multiplayer single player, the pros and cons of the game, which is a very mixed bag, and if we believe you should get the game, and who we believe the audience is gauged for. Going into it, first impressions, the game is visually impactful and amazing. The arenas that you fight in are very well put together. You can tell this is where a lot of the game time and development was put into. There's a decent amount of character customization. You can put different armor pieces on, and depending on what you put on, will dictate what kind of game style you're going to go for. Either you're going to be a heavy hitter or a survivor or a mix of the two. There is a dynamic combat system where you can deflect, throw people off in an all-out brawl, and just fuck somebody up if you're better than them, because it is very skill-based. It has a wide range of classes. Over the 3 races, which are Viking, Samurai, and Western Knights, there are 4 different classes. Each has their own Vanguard, Heavy class, Medium class, and Light class. So if you want to be a heavy hitter, you can be that. If you want to be a light, kind of viperish, you can be that as well. And if you want to backstab somebody, you can do that, and I will hate you for it. Going into it, the multiplayer has 3 main modes, the first of which is the Minion. This is the one you'll see the most gameplay for. It's a MOBA-style gameplay, even though Ubisoft wants to differentiate For Honor from most MOBAs. However, you have your grunts going in on the middle lane, which you have to defend the front line. If you get that, then that's some points that you're getting. And you also have a left and right point that you can go in a kind of King of the Hill combat style. Once you get to 1,000 points, or the enemy gets to 1,000 points, you go into deathmatch style, where if they kill all of your people before you're able to either revive or get the points below 1,000, you lose. However, if you do the same to them, you win. Going into the next one, it is deathmatch, a 4v4, just all-out brawl, where you can just go fuck each other up, and you don't have to worry about points or minions or anything like that. You just go at each other and see who is the better player. And finally, my favorite is the duels, 1v1 or 2v2, but I prefer the 1v1, where you get to really put your best out there. If you're better than someone, you smack them around, but if you are close to someone and your skill base, it is hard and really hard and like just pulsing combat, and that is where this game really shines. Going out of multiplayer, the secondary gameplay method is single player story. Unfortunately, the story seems to be a little lacking in this. They have decent cutscenes, except for this one, which I don't know what the hell that was, but it was a decent. They have decent cutscenes, a decent voice acting. However, the story is a little lacking, and what the voice actors have to actually read off for the scripts is pretty pathetic. Considering they have some decent voice actors. including Liam. If you know him, he's also from Critical Role, but we'll get into that at a different time. Not only are the cutscenes good, but the other one that really brings the story mode to something that you want to play is that it does teach you about all the different classes, which will go into multiplayer, because if you know about the different classes and the combos they can do, you can predict what the enemy is going to do to try to fuck you up with their combos. The other one that's really good of the storyline is Apollyon, which is the antagonist that you meet. And she's a Western Knight bitch who just wants to have all-out war and doesn't care about the consequences. She just wants to weed out what she calls the wolves from the sheep, because she hates the sheep.
Sheep.
And she wants all this war to create more wolves, which she believes is the natural order of things. And she doesn't care where she recruits from. She can recruit from samurai, Viking, or the Western Knight. She just respects strength. And there's some good qualities in that, but she's clearly the antagonist. Unfortunately, where the story falls apart is the story itself. Apollyon wants to do this. She invades the Vikings, spoiler alert, but most of you who are watching this probably have seen the gameplay and the story modes. Those of you, you know who I'm talking about, who do that to yourself. I'm one of you. Anyways, you get into it, and she invades the Vikings, make them desperate and fight against each other, but then they are riled together by someone that is called Raider, which is your player. And they're riled together to push them back, and then finally to invade the samurai. And then you go into the samurai portion of the story, where Apollyon's trying to fuck them up too. And she succeeds on both, which is cool, I guess, from a story point. But then they all rile together against her wishes and decide to try to end the war by bringing it to her. And then at the very end, when you finally beat her, like I said, spoiler alert, you finally beat her, she wins anyways, because when the samurai and the Western Knights stop fighting and they're about to go their peaceful ways because they realize it's stupid for them to go against each other because it was all Apollyon's bullshit just master plot, the Vikings come in and fuck everything up. So I freaking hate the Vikings in this game. But like I said, this game has very mixed bag. The multiplayer is amazing, the combat's good, but the single player is where it's really lacking. So pros is good gameplay, great visuals, and decent progression for your character. However, microtransactions are afoot in this game, and as it is a full price $60 game as of right now, it's a little annoying to see. But you don't have to worry about it quite so much because it doesn't affect gameplay. It's just more visuals, like Vikings can get a Zeus type thing and such as, but you don't really have to worry about it. The bad things is obviously the story, and there are some server issues that are going on, but those I wouldn't worry about it if you're wanting to get into the game because they're being worked on. They probably won't be a problem in the coming weeks. This game is more gauged towards the hack and slash crowd and MOBA crowd, contrary to what Ubisoft wants. But the multiplayer is really good, so if you are into that kind of gameplay, I would say go out and get it now for the full $60 price on computer, PS4, and Xbox One. However, if you're on the fence, I'd say wait until there's a deal on Steam or any of the networks, Xbox One or PS4. Thank you again for coming in and seeing our review of For Honor. If there's any other reviews for games coming up that you want us to do, tell us in the comments below and we'll try to get to it. We read all the comments, and thank you very much for watching our video. As always, happy gaming.